Hey guys and girls, it's Nathan Birch here from the B.Invested headquarters, and today I want to talk to people about how to kick ass. Unknowingly, there's been, I don't even know the amount of numbers, is however many people own properties in Sydney over the course of the last 5 to 10 years. I don't know how many people that is. Whatever it is, I'm not a stats guy, I'm not a technical guy from that side of things. I don't have all the numbers on that now, but there's fucking a lot of people over the course of the last 10 years which have made lots and lots of money in property. A lot of people ask me on a day-to-day basis, how can I, do what you've done? How can I be able to exit the workforce? How can I be able to live life on my terms? How can I be able to, take action? And it was only the other day I was driving down the road and I was sitting there stuck in traffic and I was thinking, all you poor bastards that have to go to your fucking work today. All you poor people that are stuck, trapped, enslaved, doing the shit you don't want to do, but you're just doing it as death and taxes are the only things that are two sureties in life. You're stuck in this system, you've got to do it because you want to be paying for food to put on your plate for yourself and your family or whatever. And I was sitting there thinking, all of you people that are stuck in this fucking traffic, let's say that half of you are tenants and half of you own a property, right? The tenants, I can't help you at this point. This ain't a conversation for the tenants, so park them aside. So half the people that are stuck in the fucking traffic, that I'm driving down the road and I'm stuck in peak traffic, I thought to myself, you don't need to be here, right? You don't need to be here, right? If you're smart enough, you don't need to be there. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's assume that out of those half the people, let's say there's 1 million people on the roads, right? 1 million people, that's a lot of people, right? There's 1 million people out there. Out of 1 million people, there's 50%, so there's 500,000. Out of those 500,000, let's say that half of them can get a loan, right? The reality of it is that out of the 250,000 people there that I could potentially get out and untrap them from the system, they might have bought a property for say $400,000 going back in 2009 or before 2009. So those people that bought the property for 400,000 probably have a property that's worth around 1.2 million now. If any time over the course of the last 10 years, 8 years, you could have gone in, pulled out a little bit of equity, let's say $200,000, $300,000, whatever you wanted to pull out, and use it as play money. So instead of having a loan of say 300K, you have a loan of 500K, which it might seem like a risk, but a bigger risk is going to work for 40 years for someone that you hate, a job you don't like, having the shits with it, and wasting your whole life because you only get to live once. And if you're fortunate enough to live to 80, you're probably broke and eating cat food. So 200 grand doesn't seem too big of a risk. In that period of time, I've seen people with 200,000 that have come to me and been able to build a property portfolio. And you might say, well, that was 10 years ago. Well, what happened 10 years ago? 10 years ago, there was bad things. There was GFC, there was a property bubble, which bursted, economy was fucked, and not many good things happening in the world. But from that, lots of people became millionaires. I recently did an interview for a documentary that I was filming for Primetime TV, and I was asked the question, why do I see a lot of people moving to Queensland? Why is Queensland a good place to invest at the moment? And I'm not saying go and buy a property in Queensland, I'm just using this as a hypothetical scenario. And I was hanging out of a helicopter and I was looking down and I was thinking of all the stories of the people that I've been seeing, that people had, bought their property for 400,000, gone to $1.2 million. They're selling their $1.2 million property to someone else. They're cashing out and having 800 grand. They go to Queensland, they buy a house for 600K with a jetty hanging off it, and they've got 200 grand in the bank account, and they don't have to work anymore. And that was in a period of 10 years, but you have to move out of another fucking state, right? And, looking at it, a lot of people don't look at their figures, they don't look at their positions, they don't analyse it. They just go, oh, it's all too hard, 400 grand's a lot, I'm gonna have to work another 20 years to pay it off. Well, if you had just pulled out 200 grand and bought 4 properties times 200 grand, any time over the last 10 years, and they went from 200 grand to 400 grand, you could have turned 800 grand into 1.6 mil. That's not 800 grand you need to come up with. All you needed to come up with was 200,000 from your equity in your property that's already gone up to 1.2. Pull out 200 grand, buy 4 properties for 200 grand a piece, putting down 50K on each, which is a 40K deposit and a 10K closing fee of fees. And you could have bought 800,000 worth of property, obviously wanting to make sure that the neutral cash flow, etc., etc. You could have got that 800,000 turned it to 1.6, and you would have been 800,000 up now if you wanted to sell them off, and that's in a period of 8 years. Given that the average wage is 50, 60 grand a year, whatever it is, you would have earned more than that just in your part-time, risking a small amount of money. You would have earned 15 years of the average Australian worker in your part-time on top of what you were earning. You could have had your place unencumbered, you could have had a couple of investment properties, you could have been in a position to tell your boss where to go, but you probably haven't done fuck all about it because you're stuck in traffic blocking my way so I couldn't get to where I wanted to be. So, tomorrow when you go to work, when you have to think about it, you can come home from work, you can go and put on TV, you can fucking have a couple of wines, you can sit there and watch TV, think of what's happening on, I don't even know what the TV shows that are on today, keeping up with Kardashians or some shit that you want to try and aspire to be like with your, whatever your goals are in life. Or you can spend that time working out your position, working out your goals, working out what is it going to take for me to be able to fucking get out of this workforce in the course of the next few years. And that, my friends, is how you can kick ass if you really want to think about it a little bit further. If you have any questions, we can help you. Call us on the office number 1300 367 925. And one of my team, when you call my office, most of my team are property investors themselves, some of them with 10, 15, 20 properties, because we all get property, we all understand the system, and we all are self-made millionaires through properties. If you need help, we'll talk to you soon. Have an awesome day and look forward to being a part of your journey, helping you kick ass and telling your boss where to go.